You didn't find this video by chance, no. This is divine alignment. God brought you here, right now, because your heart has been bruised, your spirit shaken, and your soul has cried out for answers. You've been through betrayal, not just once, but deeply, the kind that cuts through your core. They hurt you, misused your trust, twisted the truth, and then, with no shame, they dared to play the victim. But listen carefully, chosen one. God saw everything, every lie they told, every secret conversation behind your back, every moment they manipulated the narrative to make you look like the problem. He watched silently as they smiled in public and schemed in private. They thought they could rewrite the story, bury the truth, and walk away clean. But he who sees all is not mocked. Do not be deceived. God is not mocked. For whatever one sows, that will he also reap. Galatians 6-7. They were warned in quiet moments, in dreams, in signs. God gave them a chance to make things right with you, to walk away, to repent. But they didn't listen. They doubled down, thinking your silence meant defeat. But what they didn't know was that your silence was sacred. It was you letting God fight your battle. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Exodus 14:14. And now, the shift is happening. Justice is being set in motion. God is flipping the script. The same pit they dug for you, they'll fall into. The same lies they used will now expose them. God is not just restoring you, He's elevating you in plain sight. Your name is being cleared, your soul is being healed, and your future, it's protected. This message is urgent because the time has come. This is your season of recompense. Walk in it, with your head high, knowing you never needed to clap back. Heaven saw it all. If this message speaks to your spirit, drop an amen in the comments to receive it and declare your faith. They painted you as the villain, knowing full well the truth. They twisted your actions, distorted your words, and launched a full-blown assault on your character. This wasn't just petty gossip, this was intentional sabotage. They orchestrated a smear campaign, step by step, aiming to destroy your reputation and unravel everything you had built with integrity and hard work. They wanted the world to turn against you. They wanted people to look at you and see scandal, not substance, doubt, not dignity. Some of them even tried to drag your name into legal messes, false accusations, fabricated stories, anything they thought could leave a permanent mark of shame on your life. They weren't just trying to break your image, they wanted to break you. But that wasn't the end of their schemes. They moved beyond public slander and into your private world, whispering venom into the ears of those closest to you, stirring suspicion, planting doubt, turning hearts. They targeted your connections, your community, your sense of belonging. Why? Because they knew if they could isolate you, they could weaken you. If they could make you feel alone, they could make you question yourself. And maybe for a while, it worked. Maybe you started wondering if you were the problem. Maybe you looked in the mirror and couldn't recognize who you were anymore. That kind of betrayal runs deep. It doesn't just hurt, it haunts. Even my close friend, someone I trusted, one who shared my bread, has turned against me. Psalm 41:9. You were left standing in the wreckage, trying to make sense of it all, wondering how people you loved, helped, and trusted could so quickly believe the worst. The silence from those who once claimed to care, it was deafening. But in that silence, something sacred happened. God stepped in, not loudly, not all at once, but steadily, faithfully. He began to speak truth over the lies, healing over the hurt, clarity over the confusion. You see, while they plotted in secret, God was preparing you in stillness. While they were working to pull you down, heaven was already planning your restoration. Their lies may have shaken your image in the eyes of others, but they never changed who you are in the eyes of God. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves the crushed in spirit. Psalm 34-18. This wasn't just character assassination, this was spiritual warfare. But you're not a victim. You're a survivor of something far deeper than most people will ever understand. And not only did you survive, you are being positioned to rise. What they meant for harm, God is turning for your good. And make no mistake, He will vindicate you. In His time, in His way, without you having to prove a thing. You don't have to defend yourself when heaven is already speaking on your behalf. No weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue which rises against you in judgment you shall condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord. Isaiah 54-17. So keep walking, even when it hurts. Keep standing, even when it's lonely. The truth has a way of rising, just like you will. But chosen one, listen closely. No matter how deep the deception runs, truth always rises like the dawn breaking through the longest night. They tried to bury it beneath their lies, their manipulations, and their twisted stories. But the truth has roots in heaven, and nothing planted by God stays hidden forever. In their desperate attempts to ruin you, they ended up revealing who they truly were. The very accusations they hurled at you were never reflections of your character, they were mirrors exposing their own. Every false word they spoke about you was a confession of their own heart. They didn't realize it then, but with every seed of deceit they planted, they were sowing their own downfall. For there is nothing hidden that will not be disclosed, and nothing concealed that will not be brought to light. Luke 8:17. They thought their schemes were flawless. They smiled, thinking they'd gotten away with it. They believed their charm could cover their corruption, and their performance could hide their pride. But what they didn't see, what they could never see, was God's shield over your life. While they plotted behind closed doors, heaven was already rewriting the story in your favor. Then, when their plans began to crumble, they switched tactics. The very ones who wronged you suddenly cried out as if they were the wounded. They flipped the script, turned the tables, and played their favorite role, the victim. They spoke with trembling voices, telling half-truths and rehearsed tears, convincing others that you were the one who caused the storm. It's like watching someone set a fire, then scream for help when the flames touch their own hands. For a while, it might have worked. People believed them. You stood there, surrounded by smoke and ashes, the ruins of your name, your trust, your peace. You watched as others walked away, unsure of what to believe. But in those lonely moments, God was closer than ever. Because while man sees appearances, God sees the heart. The Lord does not look at the things people look at. People look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. 1 Samuel 16-7. They were skilled manipulators, calculating every move, rehearsing every word. They weren't just trying to harm you, they were trying to rewrite the narrative, to become the hero in their own story. In their version, they were the ones mistreated, misunderstood, maligned. And for a season, their act fooled many, but not God. Woe to those who call evil good and good evil, who put darkness for light and light for darkness. Isaiah 5:20. Because God doesn't just see what people do, He sees why they do it. He examines the secret motives, the whispers in the dark, the intentions no one else can perceive. And He never mistakes the victim for the villain. He never confuses the oppressed with the oppressor. He knows exactly who set the fire, and He knows who's been standing in the ashes trying to rebuild. And that's where His justice begins quietly, perfectly, powerfully. When the world has believed the lie, God begins to reveal the truth, not through arguments or revenge, but through divine reversal. The same mouths that slandered you will one day be silenced. The same eyes that looked down on you will soon witness your rise. He brings princes to nothing and makes the rulers of the earth as emptiness. Isaiah 40-23. So don't worry about proving yourself. Don't waste your energy fighting shadows. Just keep standing in truth, because every false story will eventually collapse under the weight of God's justice, and when it does, Your peace will speak louder than any defense ever could. It may have looked like they were winning. Their lies were convincing. Their mask flawless. They moved through rooms with confidence, deceiving hearts and twisting truths, while you were left picking up the shattered pieces of your reputation and wondering if justice would ever come. It felt like the wicked were thriving while you were suffering in silence. But, chosen one, let this be your reassurance. God has never been blind to injustice. The scales are shifting, slowly, silently, but surely in your favor. For the Lord is a God of justice. Blessed are all who wait for him. Isaiah 30-18. They paraded around as if untouchable, fooling the crowd, but they forgot one crucial thing. God sees what man cannot. He saw every hidden motive, every calculated move, every false smile they wore while stabbing you in the back. Their performance may have worked for a while, but the curtain is coming down. The mask is slipping, and soon, even those who once defended them will be unable to deny the truth. You may have felt abandoned when people distanced themselves from you, isolated when voices you trusted went silent. It's a painful thing to watch people believe lies about you while you suffer quietly. But through it all, God was there, not as a distant observer, but as a loving protector. He heard every prayer you whispered through tears, saw every night you cried alone, and felt every blow to your heart. You keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle. Psalm 56-8. And here's what you must never forget. God is not passive. He is a God who acts when his children are wronged. What looked like silence was actually strategy. While you were standing in the storm, he was already orchestrating your comeback. He was preparing the truth to rise and every lie to collapse under the weight of its own deception. In those quiet, lonely moments when you wondered if anyone still believed in you, God was aligning new people in your life. People with discernment. People who don't just listen to rumors but seek truth. People who will stand with you when the fog lifts and clarity returns. They thought they were clever. They thought they'd buried you with lies, but they didn't realize God was planting you. And now, the roots of your healing run deep. The harvest of vindication is coming. But let justice roll on like a river, righteousness like a never-failing stream. Amos 5:24. Nothing they did went unnoticed. Nothing you endured was in vain. Divine justice is not delayed. It's perfectly timed. And that time is drawing near. They didn't come against you because you were weak. They came for you because they saw something in you they couldn't explain. A light they couldn't dim. A strength they couldn't match. A favor they couldn't fake. You were a reminder of everything they weren't. And instead of letting your light inspire them to grow, they let their jealousy turn to venom. It wasn't about what you did wrong. It was about everything you did right. You showed up with authenticity, with grace, with a spirit rooted in faith, and that made them uncomfortable. Your peace highlighted their chaos. Your resilience exposed their weakness. Your joy became a mirror reflecting their bitterness. And the truth is, they weren't at war with you. They were at war with their own insecurities, and you just happened to be the nearest target. Anger is cruel, and fury overwhelming, but who can stand before jealousy? Proverbs 27-4. Instead of healing their own wounds, they projected their pain onto you. Every time you rose above their gossip, they sank deeper into their own frustration. Your success wasn't their problem, your spirit was. The light inside you reminded them of the darkness they refused to confront. And so they plotted, not because you were a threat, but because your very presence was proof that favor doesn't come from manipulation, it comes from God. But here's the thing, what's from God can't be stolen, for the gifts and the calling of God are irrevocable. Romans 11:29. They tried to extinguish your flame, but instead, they fed it. Their attacks only refined you. Their lies only taught you to stand taller. And the more they tried to bury you, the more God used the soil of their hatred to grow something stronger in you. What they didn't understand is that when someone is chosen, truly chosen by God, no scheme, no rumor, no secret plan can succeed. They operated in arrogance, thinking no one would ever see behind their mask. They assumed their manipulation would stay hidden, that their private actions would never have public consequences. But God has never missed a thing. He watched, He waited, and now the time has come. The eyes of the Lord are in every place, keeping watch on the evil and the good. Proverbs 15:3. They thought they were untouchable above correction, beyond exposure. But pride has a way of blinding people to their own downfall. The very people who once held their heads high in false confidence are now scrambling to maintain their illusions. The curtain is being pulled back, and what's being revealed is undeniable. God is humbling the proud not to destroy them, but to show that no one is above His justice. So don't fear what they've done. Stand firm in who you are. The same light they tried to put out is the light God is now using to reveal the truth. And that truth is setting you free. Now that the masks have fallen, something sacred is shifting. The illusions have shattered. The false narratives are unraveling. And the truth, your truth, is rising to the surface with unstoppable force. For so long, you were surrounded by pretense, by people who wore confidence like a costume and spoke of light while hiding in darkness. But now, the charade is over. And you, chosen one, are stepping into a season where authenticity rules and divine power flows freely. This is your time to rise, not just survive, not just recover, but to ascend. While they scramble to maintain the image they built on lies, you are walking into something real, something eternal. You've been through the fire, and you didn't come out burned, you came out refined. The chains they used to try and hold you back, the lies, the manipulation, the spiritual warfare, they've all been broken. You are no longer bound by their illusions. You are being raised by truth. Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you. Isaiah 60:1. They thought they could tear you down quietly, but what they didn't realize is that every attempt to break you only brought you closer to your calling. Every betrayal, every disappointment, every silent night where you questioned your worth, God was using all of it to build a foundation they could never shake. Now the tables are turning. The weight of their choices is catching up with them. What they sent out is circling back. Their plans are falling apart, not because you retaliated, but because heaven responds when one of God's chosen is attacked. The Lord is a refuge for the oppressed, a stronghold in times of trouble. Psalm 9:9. Their greatest mistake wasn't underestimating you, it was assuming God wouldn't move on your behalf. But justice doesn't always shout. Sometimes it arrives quietly, steadily, like a rising tide they never saw coming. And now they're drowning in the consequences of what they tried to do to you. But you're rising, not in arrogance, not in vengeance, but in purpose. This isn't about proving them wrong. It's about finally walking in everything that's been rightfully yours. You are no longer waiting for approval. You're no longer shrinking to make others comfortable. You are stepping boldly into your divine identity. You were never meant to fit in with the crowd. You were called to stand out, to carry light into dark places, to be a living example of what God's grace can build after destruction. This is your moment. Step into it, fully. Their rude awakening has come, and it hasn't come quietly. It's arriving in waves, crashing against the very foundation they once stood on with pride and deceit. The web of lies they spun so carefully is now collapsing in on itself. One by one, the illusions are unraveling. People are waking up. The masks they wore are falling, and the truth is finally catching up. What once gave them power, manipulation, deception, arrogance, is now the cause of their unraveling. Their influence is fading. The support they once boasted is vanishing. And the chaos they tried to plant in your life? It's now blooming in their own. They crafted storms for you, but now they're being swept away by the very winds they sent. What they meant for your destruction has become the mirror of their own downfall. Their awakening is not just external, it's internal. Their hearts are heavy, their minds are tormented. They tried to break someone who was covered by divine protection, and now the spiritual backlash is hitting harder than they ever imagined. They may still smile in public, still speak with confidence, but behind closed doors, they are unraveling. Their sleep is restless. Their thoughts are loud. Guilt has become their shadow. Every lie they told, every time they twisted your truth, it echoes in their mind like a song they can't shut off. And they can't escape it, because what they did to you now lives within them. There is no peace, says the Lord, for the wicked. Isaiah 48:22. They thought they could simply move on, pretend it never happened. But God doesn't let betrayal against His anointed go unanswered. He doesn't turn a blind eye when His chosen are attacked. What they did in secret, they now carry in silence a weight that grows heavier by the day. Their conscience is no longer quiet. It is a prison, locking them in cycles of regret and restlessness. Spiritually, they are frozen. Emotionally, they are stuck. Their progress has halted not just in faith, but in life. Relationships are strained, ambitions are crumbling. Doors that once opened with ease now remain closed, and they're asking, why is nothing working anymore? But the answer is simple. You cannot sow destruction and expect to harvest peace. Whoever digs a pit will fall into it. If someone rolls a stone, it will roll back on them. Proverbs 26-27. While they remain in a state of spiritual paralysis, you are rising. You've moved forward, healed, grown deeper in faith. And the contrast is undeniable. What was meant to destroy you only made you stronger. What they thought would end you became the very soil where God planted your elevation. Now, as you thrive in grace, they remain stuck in the consequences of their choices, unable to outrun the spiritual justice they never believed would come. What they don't understand is that their stagnation isn't random, it's divine intervention. God has pressed pause on their progress, blocked the paths they once ran freely down, and shut the doors they thought they could always open. Why? Because heaven doesn't allow injustice to go unanswered forever. Until they face the truth of what they've done, every step forward will feel like walking through quicksand. While you are rising into new levels of purpose and peace, they remain trapped in cycles of confusion, unable to move. They thought they were building empires, but what they were really doing was laying the bricks of their own spiritual prison. They used lies as mortar, pride as foundation, and betrayal as scaffolding, never realizing the very structure they built would collapse under the weight of their own deception. Now, every false word, every calculated betrayal is returning to them multiplied. The karma they never believed in has arrived, not as random misfortune, but as divine justice in motion. And it doesn't come where they expect it. It touches the areas they once felt most secure: their health, their finances, their peace. Doors are closing, relationships are deteriorating. The opportunities they once took for granted are slipping away like sand through fingers. They thought they could attack God's chosen and walk away untouched. But they didn't understand one eternal truth. To come against the anointed is to stand against God Himself. He permitted no man to oppress them. For their sake He rebuked kings, saying, "Do not touch my anointed ones, and do my prophets no harm." 1 Chronicles 16:21-22. They wanted to break you, but instead they broke themselves. Because while they plotted, God protected. While they schemed, heaven stood guard. Every trap they set for you became their own undoing. What they meant for evil, God has already turned for your good. The pain they caused became the very fire God used to refine you. They didn't realize every strike against you only strengthened the divine shield around your life. You didn't just survive, you grew stronger. Your faith dug deeper roots. Your purpose became clearer. Your spirit, once weary, is now unshakable. They thought they could escape the consequences. They played the victim, twisted the story, manipulated the narrative. But God is not swayed by performance. He does not forget. He does not overlook injustice. His justice may not arrive on our timeline, but it always arrives full, righteous, and final. The very things they did in secret are being brought into the light. And no matter how long they run, no matter how hard they pretend, truth always catches up. Divine justice is not just coming, it has already begun. And there is no hiding from the hand of the Lord. While they now wrestle with the weight of their own choices, you dwell in a place of peace, not because life has been easy, but because God has covered you. He saw what you couldn't. He saw the deceit behind the smiles, the intentions beneath the words, and the darkness hidden behind their charm. That's why He removed them. It wasn't rejection, it was protection. Now, as they remain stuck in confusion, watching the fallout of their own schemes, you are rising, quietly, steadily, powerfully. You've been elevated, not by force or manipulation, but by the purity of your heart. The same heart that stayed soft when it could have turned cold. The same heart that chose forgiveness when it could have chosen revenge. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Matthew 5-8. God has honored your faithfulness with peace, not just a momentary calm, but a deep, sustaining peace that surpasses understanding. A kind of peace that doesn't make sense to those watching from the outside, but you know where it comes from. It's divine. It's sacred. It's proof that God never left you even when others did. While they are tormented by regret, bound by guilt, and haunted by the past, you are resting not because nothing happened, but because you've surrendered it all to the one who carries your burdens. God took the weight of betrayal off your shoulders and placed purpose in its place. And now you walk lighter, freer, focused. Cast your cares on the Lord, and He will sustain you. He will never let the righteous be shaken. Psalm 55-22. God's peace isn't just the absence of chaos, it's the evidence of His favor. And that favor is all over your life. Because you didn't allow their wickedness to contaminate your spirit. You stayed rooted. You stayed kind. You stayed true. And now, God is lifting you higher into blessings they can't touch and into rooms they were never meant to enter. Your peace is proof of your victory. A victory that was already written long before the attacks even began. They tried to break you, but all they did was become the reason for your growth. You're wiser now, stronger, spiritually sharper. You're more aligned with your purpose than ever before. What they meant to destroy you, God used to develop you. Every storm refined you. Every betrayal prepared you. And every setback only made your comeback more powerful. Now they watch from the sidelines, witnessing the very thing they tried to prevent: the fullness of your calling, the radiance of your joy, the glow of someone who has been through the fire and came out gold. He will make your righteousness shine like the dawn, the justice of your cause like the noonday sun. Psalm 37-6. You are walking proof that no weapon formed against you shall prosper. Not only did you survive, you thrived. And now you walk in the light of your purpose, unshaken, unstoppable, and unmistakably chosen. Your elevation, chosen one, isn't just something the world can see, it's something the heavens have ordained. This rise is spiritual. It's sacred. You are walking in alignment with a higher realm, guided not by circumstance, but by God's divine orchestration. What once felt like destruction was actually preparation. Every step, every scar, every silent night was woven into the blueprint of your breakthrough. Now, it's time to let go, not for them, but for you. Let go of the weight they tried to place on your shoulders, the blame, the shame, the bitterness. Their wickedness is no longer your burden to carry. God has already handled it. He saw what they did behind closed doors, and He dealt with it in ways only heaven can. You are no longer tethered to their darkness. Release the pain, release the anger, release the past. Not because you've forgotten, but because you're choosing not to let it chain you to a season you've already outgrown. Forgiveness isn't approval of their actions. It's the freedom of your soul. By letting go, you reclaim your power, you take your peace back, and with every weight lifted, you rise higher. Forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. Isaiah 43:18-19. You have greater things ahead. Your calling is too important to be slowed by what's behind you. Your purpose too sacred to be tainted by their malice. As you release the remnants of betrayal, you'll find yourself moving with ease, clarity, and grace. Because God has already cleared the path, He's already fought the battles. He's already declared victory on your behalf. And now, that victory is manifesting. You remained faithful in the fire. You chose integrity when bitterness was easier, and heaven noticed. God is honoring your faithfulness. He is blessing you with abundance in peace, in purpose, in opportunities no man can block. The very things they tried to steal from you, God is restoring tenfold. The Lord will open the heavens, the storehouse of His bounty, and bless all the work of your hands. Deuteronomy 28:12. You are walking proof that obedience brings overflow. What they meant to break you only built you stronger. What they meant to silence you only positioned you for greater influence. You are not just surviving, you are thriving. So stay grounded. Keep your heart pure. Stay focused on the road ahead, not the noise behind. God is not finished blessing you. In fact, the best is still unfolding. Every promise He made is still active. Every prayer you whispered in secret is still echoing in eternity. And while they face the consequences of their choices, you will continue to rise not in spite of them, but because God has always had the final say. Keep walking. Your elevation has just begun.